Forest.
Wake.
Forest.
Wake. Forest.
Wake. Forest.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for. Been searching in the dark, your sweat soaking through the floor. And buried in your bones, there's an ache that you can't ignore. Taking your breath, stealing your mind, and all that was real is left behind. Don't fight it, it's coming for you, running at you. It's only this moment, don't care what can gather. There's something breaking at the brick of every wall, it's holding on that you know. You're coming and you wanna go where it's coming in on colored lines, where the runaways are running the night. Impossible comes true, intoxicating you. It's everything you ever want, it's everything you ever need. It's here right in front of you. This is where you wanna be. It's everything you ever want, it's everything you ever need. It's here right in front of you. This is where you wanna be. This is where you wanna be.
When it's covered in all the color lights, when the runaways are running the night, impossible comes true, it's taking over you.
This is the greatest show.
When it's covered in all the color lights, when the runaways are running the night,
Impossible comes true, it's taking over you.
this is the greatest show.
Hi, I'm Emma Cagle. I'm from Fairfield, Connecticut, and I'm the first person in line. I chose Wake Forest because when I got on campus, I knew that it was the perfect school for me.
Hi, I'm Meredith Vaughn and I'm from Greensboro, North Carolina. I'm excited about move-in day because I get to meet new friends and experience Wake as a student for the first time.
Hi, I'm Melissa Clear. I'm from Morristown, New Jersey, and I'm excited to be a freshman at Wake Forest this year and take new classes and meet new people. I really like Wake Forest because it's a beautiful school, it's a beautiful campus, and it's pretty small, but it also has big sports and good academics.
Good evening, Wake Forest class of 2021. What a magnificent way to start off this one-of-a-kind commencement celebration. As you've already figured out, this evening will be a little different from what you might have imagined from commencement, but it will be forever memorable. Tonight we celebrate you, the class of 2021. You have worked hard for this moment. You've endured struggles, seized opportunities, overcome obstacles, and yeah, spent the last 16 months of your college career in the middle of a worldwide pandemic. We truly salute you. To continue our time together, I'd like to invite Wake School of Divinity, Dean Jonathan Lee Walton, to lead us in the invocation. Dean Walton.
As we gather here tonight in festive celebration of and appreciation for the class of 2021, I ask that you would please join me in a posture of prayer, meditation, and/or reflection. Gracious God, giver of life and source of love and compassion, we come together to mark this moment. We come together to honor accomplishment. We come together to celebrate success. We acknowledge resilience in the face of many hardships and perseverance despite compounded heartbreak. In this absurd season, we celebrate these students and families who gather here tonight. For like our nation and world, they have stared down incredible challenges, endured unthinkable conditions, and carried unspeakable grief that was born of an inconceivable loss. Yet, we are here. Therefore, as these graduates prepare their place in the world as socially engaged, civically minded citizens, we ask that you would free them, O God. Free them of all fear of the future and timidity about tomorrow. Free them. Free them from cowardice in the face of danger, laziness in the face of work, anxiety in the face of opportunity, and indifference in the face of injustice. Free them. And once you free them, O God, we ask that you would then please fill us. Fill us with love that knows no barriers, sympathy that reaches all, and passion for justice that will bend the moral arc. Fill us. Fill us with faith that can overcome darkness and hope that can counteract despair. And fill us, O God, with appreciation for family, friends, faculty, mentors, service workers, and all hands who made this special day possible. For the greatest prayer that any of us could ever pray is thank you. This is our prayer, O God, and this is our humble plea. As we all say together, Amen.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my pleasure to join you in your commencement celebration tonight. Congratulations to each and every one of you. I also want to really thank you for the way you have exemplified the spirit of Wake Forest during times of significant adversity throughout your senior year. Thank you for your hope. Thank you for your belief in and contributions to community. And thank you for your grace. You have strengthened Wake Forest, and you have strengthened each other. A heartfelt thanks. Tonight also marks another important occasion in the life of Wake Forest. The class of 21 will be the last class to receive their degrees from our president, Nathan O. Hatch. Over the last year and the last 16 years, he has led us with excellence, and he has modeled Wake Forest values every single day. In recognition for his outstanding leadership and service to Wake Forest and beyond, on behalf of the board, it is my distinct honor to award him an honorary Wake Forest degree. President Hatch, will you please join me?
Dr. Nathan Orr Hatch has spent his career in higher education. As a professor and leading scholar of American religious history, he intrigued the minds of young thinkers. From the classroom, he moved into administration, where he cherished the value of teamwork and cultivated an entrepreneurial spirit. And on July 1st, 2005, he became the 13th president of Wake Forest University, spending the last 16 years shaping a steadfast vision that has further established Wake Forest as one of the leading private universities in the United States. With Dr. Hatch as president, Wake Forest has pursued excellence by defining the vision of a collegiate university, attracting new talent and assembling a strong team of leaders, making significant realignments in business and medicine, and undertaking bold initiatives that made standardized tests optional for you applicants, developed programs to educate the whole person, and reinvented the 21st century liberal arts education with personal and career preparedness a key focus. Under Dr. Hatch's steady and consistent leadership, the university has expanded academic offerings, enhanced diversity and inclusion, deepened its resource base through the historic Wake Will Lead campaign, renewed athletics facilities, and positioned character into the fabric of the learning community.
As a community leader, Dr. Hatch has actively extended the university's commitment to Winston-Salem and better defined its role and responsibility as a community citizen. At Dr. Hatch's direction, Wake Forest has continued to invest in the Winston-Salem community, developing the Innovation Quarter and launching new biomedical science and engineering programs. Through its partnership with Atrium Health and the creation of the School of Professional Studies, Wake Forest looks to enhance the lives of people throughout the state of North Carolina. Dr. Hatch also contributed his skills as a leader to organizations across the state, country, and within the realm of higher education. His trusted, sage, experienced, and pragmatic voice has been one that others seek and follow. With a humble spirit and sense of humor, he has brought focus and patience into conversations about complex issues. Dr. Hatch is regularly cited as one of the most influential scholars in the study of the history of religion in America. He received national acclaim for his 1989 book, The Democratization of American Christianity, which has been chosen as one of the two most important books in the study of the history of American religion. In 2014, Dr. Hatch was recognized for his academic excellence when he was elected to the American Academy of Arts and Sciences.
Dr. Hatch, for your exceptional vision as a leader in higher education, for your dedication to upholding tradition while pursuing innovation, for your integrity and strong character, and for your unwavering commitment and service to Wake Forest and its community in the spirit of pro humanitate, you, Nathan Orr Hatch, are hereby awarded the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters.
Good evening. I'm deeply humbled and honored by receiving a degree like you are from Wake Forest University. Serving here has been the greatest privilege of my life and of Julie's life, and we are deeply grateful. Today is a very special day for Wake Forest University and the class of 2021. It is worth a 21-gun salute, a fireworks extravaganza, and most importantly, now that we are permitted the warmest embrace of family and friends. For the last 15 months, all of us have lived in the valley of the shadow of COVID-19, and it has conspired to rob us of what is the very best of a residential liberal arts university. Instead of conversation and engagement, we faced isolation. Instead of coming together for concerts, lectures, and sporting events, we stayed huddled in our rooms. I am so grateful for where we are tonight, together in person, with COVID receding and the vaccine giving us hope for return to patterns of normal living, which once we took for granted, but now relish like the sweet scent that fills the air after a passing storm. COVID may not be fully behind us, but its grip has been broken, and tonight we can celebrate with grateful hearts and renewed hope. I want to salute you, the class of 2021, for all you have done to achieve this milestone. You have done a remarkable job, and tonight we honor and celebrate you. It's too soon for any of us to know exactly what we have learned over the last 15 months. That will take time. We know the challenges have been unexpected. We had to work through dark nights of soul isolation and cope with deep frustration and expectations for not having what you expect to have for a senior year. But I am confident of one thing. The adversity you've experienced has and will make you a stronger and wiser person. Like gold refined in a furnace, the trials of this year will strengthen your character and make you much more capable of the challenges as you go forth from this place. C.S. Lewis once noted, hardships often prepare ordinary people for extraordinary destiny. You know, I'm amazed when I read stories of notable people how often it was trials and adversity that steeled them to become what they were. It was living through the horrors of trench warfare in World War I that helped shape the vivid imagination of C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien. Both Oprah Winfrey and Maya Angelou had wretched and abusive experiences when they were young, but they turned those experiences into inspiration that led them to become life-giving people. Franklin Roosevelt became paralyzed when he was 39, but that only stiffened his resolve. Steven Spielberg twice was rejected as a student at the USC Film School. Jimmy Carter was only admitted to the Naval Academy after 3 years of trying. And Apple founder Steve Jobs, in a famous commencement address at Stanford, admitted that the best thing that ever happened to him when he was fired from the company he had started, because it forced him to rethink many of his assumptions. My point is that severe trials you have experienced this year is not something wasted and lost. You have not been marking time. This was not a wasted year, even if it was what you didn't expect. I don't want to underestimate the disappointment you may have experienced, but neither would I want to underestimate the strength of character that has been forged in these last months. We may not see the fruits of these trials we have faced quickly, but I am certain they will appear. Like a lot of life experience, we may not have chosen this experience or wanted to go through these months, but the lessons will be abundant. Class of 2021, you hold a special place in my heart. Not only do we share the experience of having responded to COVID-19 pandemic together, we also leave Wake Forest at the same time. While we have dramatically been shaped by the last several months, our Wake Forest experiences extends over 4 years. And I invite you to reflect on that time, take in the whole experience, and I imagine it will be rich with moments of connection with others and deep personal growth. When I think back on the 16 years that Julie and I have been privileged to be here, I will remember the glistening buildings of Wake Downtown and Farrell Hall and the renewed Reynolds Gym. I'll remember new academic programs, the Office of Personal and Career Development, efforts in diversity, and a magnificent capital campaign. I will remember the Appian deal, which greatly strengthens our medical school and medical center. I will remember new athletic facilities, such as the one we're in tonight, and exulting in some great athletic wins. But most of all, I will remember the people, all firmly committed, and invested in the success of students and the mission and future of Wake Forest. I can think of no major accomplishment, particularly during this year, that has not been launched by committed teams united together on behalf of this community. Author, advocate, and educated Helen Keller said, "Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experience of trial and suffering can the soul be strengthened, ambition inspired, and success achieved." Today, as you leave Wake Forest, may you see your time at Wake Forest as one that has been refining. May you eagerly look for lessons that come from adversity, and may you consider it a joy when you experience trials of many kinds, knowing that they will produce perseverance, and perseverance yields character, and character gives us hope. Thank you. Our first guest speaker this evening has been breaking barriers her entire career. Condoleezza Rice was the first woman to serve as National Security Advisor in 2001, and in 2005, she became the first African-American woman to hold the post of Secretary of State. Dr. Rice served as the Chief Foreign Policy Advisor to former President George W. Bush during some perilous and pivotal times. She has committed her life to public service and leadership on a global scale. Today, she continues to lead as an educator. Before joining the Bush administration, she was the first female, first African-American, and youngest provost at Stanford University. After leaving her diplomatic post, she returned to Stanford, where today she's the director of Stanford's Hoover Institution. Since her childhood in racially segregated Birmingham, Dr. Rice has recognized the power of education to break boundaries. In an interview last summer on Face the Nation, she said that for her family, education was always a way to break through the barriers of prejudice. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Condoleezza Rice, who joins us today in a pre-recorded message.
Hello, and congratulations to the class of 2021 of Wake Forest University. I've had the pleasure of being on your campus for events like this, and I also want very much, even though I haven't had the chance, to come and watch the Demon Deacons play, because you have a wonderful tradition of a great university, a really great university, with intercollegiate athletics, and I simply love that. I know that this isn't exactly the commencement that you expected, but I hope that you'll have an opportunity during these next few hours, during these next few days, during the weeks ahead of you, to reflect on what this journey has meant. First and foremost, I hope you found your passion. When you find your passion, life has a way of laying out in front of you in a way that you begin to find that special intersection between your interests and your talents. I hope too that you will remember that you've tried hard things, maybe a hard class, or maybe you've taken an assignment that's been difficult, because life is like that. You will find over time that doing hard things, things that you're not particularly good at doing, but that you overcome, is perhaps more fulfilling than just doing what's easy for you. I hope too that you will remember all the wonderful relationships that you've built. There's nothing like the relationships that you build in college. They will be there with you to sustain you. They'll be there to ground you in who you are today and who you will become. And I hope that you've taken advantage of Wake Forest's wonderful reputation as an international university, a place where people come from all over to get to know other cultures. There's nothing quite like studying and living with people from other places. It makes you appreciate your own country and your own circumstances, but it lets you know the fullness of the human experience. And I know that over time, that will serve you well. Now, as I said, this isn't exactly the commencement that you expected. It isn't the end to your time at Wake Forest that you'd hoped for and dreamed about. But commencement is actually not the end. It's the beginning. That's why we say to commence. And so as you go forward, there's another part of this very special journey in this COVID-centered year that you can also take with you. Remember that you've had to persevere in these difficult times. We all have. Remember too that you've had to adapt. In life, you will have to adapt. Things won't always be as you expected. You'll have to learn to live with and deal with and overcome the unexpected. And you've done that in spades this year. You, I hope, will remember the value of relationships through all of this. Just being able to see someone has been a real gift and a real pleasure. And so take that sense of the importance of relationships to life, to the fullness of life with you. And I especially hope that you will take the sense of obligation to society. COVID-19 has exposed some very deep inequalities in the way that we work, in the way that we learn. And those inequalities are going to be with us for a while. Pledge today to do something about making life better for those who have less than you do. I will tell you something, when you ask, why do I have so much? It is a much better foundation. And you get there by looking at those and working with those who have less. It'll never allow you to be entitled or aggrieved again. And then from that foundation, you can go out to exercise the responsibilities of an educated person. That is a group to which you are now admitted. It is a group from which you can never be expelled. But it does bring special obligations. It brings an obligation to be optimistic. The world was really never changed by pessimists. It was changed by people who saw the world not as it is, but as it should be. But they had to have a sense of human potential in order to keep optimism that the world indeed could be changed. And so as you leave this place, remember why you came, remember all that you've done, and remember the foundation that you've received to exercise those obligations to society to make this a better, more prosperous and peaceful world for all, no matter where they came from, no matter who they are. Thank you for allowing me to have a few minutes with you on this very special day. God bless, Godspeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, standing in front of you are 18 cadets who momentarily will take the oath of commissioned officers to become second lieutenants in the United States Army. These cadets will swear an allegiance to the Constitution of the United States to defend the nation against all enemies, foreign and domestic. These students have worked vigorously the past 4 years in their academic discipline while developing their leadership, professionalism, and intellect to shape themselves into the best leaders America will produce. The leaders standing before you will graduate from Wake Forest University and lead America's sons and daughters around the globe. Thank you to the student body for continually nurturing relationships. Thank you to the faculty for exercising flexibility, and thank you to the university for persistent support. Please join the No Fear Battalion in congratulating these 18 leaders upon the oath of office being administered.
Well, I'll tell you, I can't think of better weather for us to come in on. These guys are used to being tired, cold, wet, hungry. But President Hatch, Provost First, Dean Gillespie, the events team, and every one of you out there, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving us this humble opportunity to recognize the men and women behind me that will not only take an oath to serve, but to lead those who serve. Moments away from becoming Army officers, I hope everyone realizes here that they're a representation of you. They spend most of their time as students. Their peers and friends help them grow socially. You develop their empathy, their self-awareness, their ability to relate to every man and woman that they will soon lead. Our administration helped them balance the rigors of top-tier education and the demands of leadership training in our program. Our faculty developed them into critical thinkers, able to communicate and dominate complex security problems that they will soon face. And our leaders here at the university providing critical support, even during a pandemic, to train, to run, to teach, hands-on, face-to-face leadership, which is absent in many ROTC programs this challenging year. They knew that leadership and mastering leadership is impossible virtually. Finally, the family and friends of our students developed and nurtured the values and ethics that we hold dear in our profession. Loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. All of these cadets came to us with those values. You can't train them, you can't embed them in 4 years. And it made it that much easier for us to nurture them. These officers represent Wake Forest University and Winston-Salem State University. Think of them as you spend holidays with family, for they may be unable to. Think of them every once in a while when you go to sleep. They may sleep only a few minutes to make sure their soldiers get a few hours. Think of them when you turn out the light at night, and they wait for the green light to jump over an aircraft or out of an aircraft in the middle of the night. They take an oath today to protect our Constitution, our way of life, and our people. They will assure our allies and they will deter our enemies. But make no mistake, if anyone threatens our country or our people, these leaders stand ready to decisively defeat them and sacrifice everything to preserve our freedom. Thank you all for your continued support. God bless every single one of you out there that's graduating today, the faculty, the staff, the soon-to-be officers behind me, and of course, God bless America. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name. Having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States in the rank of second lieutenant, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office in which I am about to enter. So help me God.
Well, I know a couple things. Here's this guy again, up here. I promise this will be the last time you see me, and you don't have to worry about more videos and whatnot. And secondly, isn't God so good? God is so good. My name is Miles Middleton, and I am the current student body president for our student body. This is the greatest moment of our lives. The moment we've been working toward for the last 4 years. The moment our parents have pictured since we stepped onto campus. The moment that some of us were told we wouldn't make it to. As I speak to you, all I want you to think about is the people and moments that shaped you on your journey here. How they molded you, and more, how do they define you? 4.5 years ago, before I was the president, or battalion commander, or soon to be Wake alum, well now Wake alum, I came to college with a 900 on the SAT and an 18 on the ACT. I was told time and again by my high school classmates that affirmative action was going to be my downfall. And I bet you would not see the day of graduation. With all that, I was nervous coming here. I wondered what people would think of me, or how I could survive a college classroom. When I stepped onto campus, I tried so hard to be someone I wasn't. I felt the social pressure to perform. I'm sure I'm not the only one who felt the same pressures as well. I felt that I had to create a higher standard of achievement or even push myself to my own limit. I was becoming my biggest critic. But Wake Forest gave me opportunity that I could dream, and I could dream big. That a son who came from a single mother household as an African-American male could do it and make it here and graduate. If it wasn't for my friends I was surrounded by at Wake Forest, or the professors and administrators who helped mentor me over the years, I would not be where I am today. I realized that your village, your people, are what is going to carry you through the thick and thin. For all of us here, it is important to acknowledge the people who carried us through life, not just by granting them gifts or saying thank you once in a while, but expressing our sincerest gratitude and compassion for them. It is key that we do not let their love and guidance toward us stop at us, more importantly. We should be willing and able to bless others in every possible way going forward. On my journey to Wake Forest University, similar to others, I struggled. But now as I look back, all of it was necessary to get me here today, like you. Now that you are here and about to take off to do great things, do not let the world around you or the situations that you will experience steal your joy or happiness. For those of you who know me well, know two things. One, I love my mom. And two, I love my family and friends. And I bet people wonder why I do so much, why I work so hard. I don't owe it to anyone else but my ancestors. Because as Dr. Maya Angelou said, I am the hope and the dream of the slave. Those individuals I spoke of never gave up on me. And I believe it's important for people to understand my story in order to know why I can never fail them or let them down. Let the people who shaped and defined you know you led me to my testimony, my moment. You all have been incredibly blessed, from first gens to single parent households to all who are here. Be a blessing for someone else as you journey forward. As I close, I want to thank our fantastic administrators, faculty and staff, and facilities for making this year an incredible experience, regardless of tough times in COVID-19. But most importantly, I have to thank you students for not only helping make this year possible on campus, but more importantly, in trusting in me and giving me the opportunity to serve you all. I've known many of you for years now, and some of you for shorter. However, each of you have had an impact on my life that I will never forget. And lastly, I want you to do one thing for me. This is my last thing. I came to Wake Forest because of my grandfather. He was the reason why I came here. If it wasn't for him, if you didn't know, I spent 3.5 years taking care of him while I was here on the weekend, while I was at his house on the weekends. That was my home, that was my happiness. He was my hero. Before this, before any honor, it was my honor to be his grandson. And I want you to think about, and I lost him this summer. I want you to, after this, I want you to talk to the people who are next to you, your loved ones, your parents. I want you to tell them how much you love them, how much you care about them, how much you thank them for bringing you here and taking you so far on this journey. Because I wish I had him today. He was supposed to pin me. He was supposed to be here for graduation. But I don't question God's plan, and I know that he has a better plan for me, and I got an angel watching over. So please, if you do that for me, that'll make me the happiest man in the world. I thank you, and God bless you. Now, here's a little look back at this year on campus. Our next guest speaker has been celebrated as a new voice in politics whose fresh approach and bold ideas have garnered national attention. After a successful tenure as mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and a promising 2020 presidential campaign, he was recently named United States Secretary of Transportation by President Joseph Biden. Pete Buttigieg is not only the youngest presidential cabinet member, he is also the first openly gay person to serve as a cabinet secretary. He first gained national attention when his long-shot presidential bid led to a virtual tie with Bernie Sanders in the Iowa caucuses. Secretary Buttigieg's supporters have praised his ground-level approach to problem-solving, his willingness to seek input from a wide range of voices, and his forward-thinking message of generational change. A Harvard graduate and former Rhodes Scholar, Secretary Buttigieg will largely be responsible for advancing President Biden's ambitious infrastructure plan. He's expected to draw on his experience as the mayor of South Bend, where he was praised for his work to improve neighborhoods and citywide living conditions. In addition to shaping infrastructure and climate change policy, Secretary Buttigieg said that he will address racial and economic inequality during his tenure overseeing the Department of Transportation. At age 39, Secretary Buttigieg has shown that barriers can be broken. Please join me in welcoming Secretary Pete Buttigieg, who joined us today in a pre-recorded message.
Thank you, Miles, for your introduction, and thank you, President Hatch, for inviting me to speak today. It's great to be reunited with a one-time colleague of my father and someone who knows my hometown of South Bend so well. To the trustees, the faculty, the staff of Wake Forest, to the family and friends of the graduates, and most of all to the class of 2021, congratulations. Graduating college is a momentous occasion for the life of any young person, but to graduate in this moment, to emerge from your university experience this year of all years, represents something unique and uniquely meaningful. In preparing for these remarks, I was delighted to learn that the great American poet Maya Angelou was also a faculty member at Wake Forest. In words that seem very timely now, she once remarked that you may not control all the events that happen to you, but you can decide not to be reduced by them. Be certain, she said, that you do not die without having done something wonderful for humanity. Her words, of course, mirror the motto of the institution where she taught, Pro Humanitate, for humanity. The students who graduate now are arriving at a moment that calls uniquely for reflection on that motto. The past year has offered no shortage of blunt reminders that we do not always control the events that happen to us. I'm sure that no student here began your academic career expecting to spend your final year at Wake in virtual classrooms or sitting 6 feet apart from each other in Adirondack chairs. You've missed gathering for meals at the pit with classmates, or you may have been forced to coordinate a course schedule from the other side of the planet. It's safe to say that the world you're about to enter is profoundly changed from how it looked just 4 years ago. Many of the changes you have experienced have been terribly constraining, and yet, in so many ways, you have decided not to be reduced by them. In the past year, Wake students have led social justice teach-ins and organized international conferences on inequality. You've raised funds for refugees and tutored public school students struggling with remote learning. You've put on virtual concerts and performed socially distanced productions of Shakespeare. And along the way, you've won debate championships, earned prestigious scholarships, and hosted the first Demon Deacons football game since the start of the pandemic. That perseverance has served you well in your time at Wake Forest, and it's going to be even more needed to come in this season that is ahead in your lives and in the life of the United States. The past year has exposed deep fractures in the foundations of American life. We see a pandemic, far from over, after claiming the lives of 582,000 Americans and counting, with communities of color suffering the brunt of the public health and economic consequences. We see a worldwide reckoning over racial justice that calls attention to centuries-old patterns of violence and abuse. We're seeing wildfires, hurricanes, and other climate disasters that mount as a gathering threat that will only get worse if we don't act. We even see threats to our democracy itself, here in America, of all places. Confronting these challenges is going to be the defining task of your lifetimes and mine. But if these challenges are a source of pain and pressure, they're also a source of propulsion. You are assured, amid all of the disruptions to your lives, that you will see no shortage of wonderful ways to work for humanity. Rarely does history assign so many forms of urgent work to a single generation, and yet here you are. Your final year at Wake may have been disrupted by events you couldn't control, but in the gravity of those events lie sources of purpose and urgency that will make your choices now about how you use the skills and passion and ideals you've cultivated here all the more consequential. As we emerge from this pandemic, as you begin your lives as graduates, your talent, your service will be needed. Whether that service comes literally in the sense of a professional calling to public or military service, or whether it's in the service you may give to your country or community or society in the midst of private or academic or other work, the potential for your usefulness to humanity is not in question. All that is in question is exactly how you will rise to this occasion. And from all I know of what you have done with your time at Wake Forest, you're off to a very good start. So congratulations once more on this remarkable achievement. And I can't wait to see the wonderful things that you will do for humanity.
Unprecedented situation unfolding in Denver. Here's what happened.
I mean, I'm excited to see how this goes.
We'll turn to their practice squad wide receiver, Kendall Hinton.
I like Kendall Hinton.
Got to see Kendall Hinton.
That's Kendall Hinton, a practice squad wide receiver who played a little quarterback in college and became the starting quarterback for the Broncos yesterday.
Congratulations to the class of 2021. You have all persevered through the most challenging year of our lives, and there is so much for you to be proud of. With that, it is my pleasure to introduce one of my favorite players that I have coached at Wake Forest, and someone that has overcome obstacles for the past 4 to 5 years, K2 Kendall Hinton. Now, never in my wildest dreams did I envision a day that I would be introducing Kendall as a graduation speaker with individuals as accomplished as Condoleezza Rice and Pete Buttigieg. Those 3 names never lined up for me. But his example of staying ready and choosing a path of uncertainty has led him to garnering national acclaim and representing our proud university with distinction. Kendall has battled through injuries, disappointments, and at times self-inflicted failures, but not one of those things defined him. He has overcome many hurdles to become a better person and football player because of his resilience and mental toughness. His unlikely start with the Denver Broncos at quarterback in 2020, after their entire quarterback room were contacts of a positive COVID-19 case, showed the country his unselfish and team-first attitude that defined his career at Wake Forest. Simply put, he turned a challenge into an opportunity. Kendall is a proud representative of Wake Forest, and I'm excited and honored to be the one to introduce him today. His inspirational story is still being written, and I will let him take it from here. It is my great pleasure to introduce Kendall Hinton.
Good evening, faculty, staff, families, and class of 2021. My name is Kendall Hinton. I'm a former member of Wake Forest football and proud Wake Forest alum, much like each one of you become today. Being back on campus today has brought back so many memories. It feels like just yesterday I was in the same seats as you all, pushing through a hangover, pleading to hear my name called sooner and later. So what makes today so special is that for the first time, we have a group of students who have endured ambiguity and adversity on an unprecedented scale. So it is with great honor to speak in front of such a persevering group of leaders. My journey up to today has taught me that we must embrace a story that hasn't been written. For many of us, coming out of college, we have some idea of how we want our futures to play out. Whether that be our first job or how much money we plan to save in X amount of years. And by doing so, we put ourselves in these parameters. And if anything deviates from that plan, we oftentimes fall defeated or we're unable to adapt. In order to create a story that hasn't been written, we must embrace the unknown. Ever since I could hold a football, quarterback was the one position that I fell in love with. Around 5th grade, I went out and tried for the Pop Warner team in my hometown. After tryouts finished up, it was decided that I'd be the team's fullback, which was the biggest disappointment ever, because not only did I feel like I was the best option at quarterback, but fullback was such a violent position. And I think back to those days and how for the first time I was put in a position that was out of my control. But I accepted the role and would find a way to take advantage of the situation. Fast forward to 2017, heading into my junior year here at Wake Forest. After 2 years of competition with now Rams quarterback and good friend John Walford, I was finally granted the starting role 2 weeks into the season. In my first game under center, I get tackled, tear a ligament in my knee, and my 2017 season was over. The 2018 season is finally here, and what I thought would finally be my year to shine, I was suspended for the first quarter of the season. There was disappointment throughout our entire team, and rightfully so, but the biggest disappointment being in myself. And unlike any other obstacles I had faced, this was my responsibility that I had to own up to. The season begins, and my confidence is gone, and it's starting to show in my performance. So the option of wide receiver is offered. And there it is again, an opportunity to embrace uncertainty. Fast forward to this past year, and like all of you today, this pandemic has created a huge obstacle in our journeys. Due to the rising cases, our Pro Day, which is a chance to finally showcase talents for NFL teams, was canceled. So draft day comes around and my name goes uncalled. Thankfully, I'm offered an opportunity by the Denver Broncos to come and try out as a free agent. And unfortunately, for rookie free agents, you're often the first to go. And so as it goes, that following training camp, the organization decided to release me. And just like that, I'm no longer an athlete. I gave myself about 2 weeks to sulk, and it was time to make some decisions. So I started preparing myself for the job field. Within a week or so, I found a small gig raising fundraisers for schools, hoping I could scrape up enough money to continue my football training. About 2 weeks go by, and I'm actually starting to work now. One Monday afternoon, I get a call from the Broncos telling me I had about 4 hours to make the next flight to Denver. And so I let my supervisor know, I said my goodbyes to family and friends, and I head off to Denver that night. After my second week back with the team since being released, I'm headed to pick up my girlfriend from the airport around 6 o'clock. At that time, the plan was to show her around a bit Saturday, and we would watch the game Sunday from home. And as I'm arriving at the airport, my coach calls me. At that time, I'm assuming the worst. But instead, he asked me, hey, could you suit up for quarterback tomorrow? That they would need me to be back in the building by 7:30 that night. Mind you, the last time I've thrown a ball was in 2017. So instantly my heart drops, and I call my dad just to make sure this was reality. As I tried my best to prepare that night and calm my nerves, it dawned on me. At every single stage of my life, there has been a moment where I've had the choice to embrace uncertainty or stay in my parameters. Always choose uncertainty. The game ends and my performance is poor, but the experience, the support, the opportunities that have opened up from embracing the uncertainty are like no other. Class of 2021, life is often measured in moments, and today is a big moment for all of you. Enjoy every second of it, and as you depart from this beautiful campus, always remember to be grateful for your situation, because there is a lesson in everything. Everyone's path is unique, so embrace every twist and turn on your journey. And most importantly, embrace uncertainty. Allow for unlimited opportunities and break those parameters so you can create a story that you've never read before. Congratulations and Godspeed, class of 2021.
members of the graduating class of 2021 another round of applause. Before we leave this evening, I want you graduates to remember back in time with me. It was the long, languid days of August 2017. Many of you had moved into your residence halls, and we gathered together in a circle on Hearn Plaza with your family, friends, loved ones circling outside you. You didn't know anyone back then. You didn't know the adventures that awaited you. You didn't realize how much you would be tested and how much you would change and develop and grow. It was the first time we officially got to welcome you into the Wake Forest family. We gave out pins and sang the alma mater, though most of you just hummed along. Tonight, gathered together again, we are a Wake Forest family, ready to see how you will leave this home of yours and chase after your adventures. After years of preparation, toil, trial, and victory, you are ready for what is to come. You are ready to step into this moment with courage, resilience, and the spirit of pro humanitate. As I asked you to do 4 years ago, look around you. See the faces who were once strangers and are now family. As you leave, know that you will always be welcome here. You will always have a home here, and you will always be called a demon deacon. To make this moment official, we have one last two-part assignment. Would the class of 2021 please rise? Your tassel on your cap should be on the right side. Please take it and move it to the left, where it should forever remain. And now, take those caps off, and on my signal, not yet, you're going to toss them. Family, friends, special guests, I give you the extraordinary Wake Forest class of 2021. Throw those hats.